Hello, everyone. This is Richard Hart. You may know me from my pitifully small Twitter account where I have 50,000 followers. With me here is a real man, John McAfee, who has 1.1 million followers, which is 20x more. He's been at this longer than I have. He's, my biggest company was 150 employees. How many employees was your biggest company? Do you remember?
I don't know, a few thousand. Way too many. Way too many to be fun, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
And by the way, I'd like to point out how it's become so common to rate people according to their followers, according to the likes, according to their retweets. And I find it very, very humorous in many respects, and that's hardly the measure of a person by any stretch of the imagination, other than, oh, I know that name.
Yeah. It's interesting, so people have less deep connections now and more shallow connections. So if you look at who people marry, back in the old days, people would marry within, a 20-mile radius of where they lived because that's the only people they met, right? And now people, they hop on Tinder and people end up marrying people that are thousands of miles away. And it's changed a lot of stuff in the culture for the worse. So, if you're on Twitter, as I often am, they measure how many.
I think that's good for the gene pool. I really do.
That is, yes. I agree with that.
The smaller the community, the more inbred it becomes. Mm-hmm. I mean, ultimately, if you live in the Appalachians, way off in the mountains, the only people you know are your cousins, and that's who you marry. I mean, so
yep.
I think it's good. It's good for the diversity of the gene pool.
I agree with that. From the dating perspective, it is better. From the synergy and business perspective, it's better. But from the consumption of human consciousness, and you look at how humans spend their time now, they spend all of their minutes staring at a screen, hoping for the dopamine hit of the likes for people that they'll never meet, that if the shit really hit the fan, maybe some of them would be there. And so these companies, there's surveillance capitalism, and then there's attention capitalism, and they're consuming all of our consciousness. And then there's nothing left to create. There's nothing left to be you when you spend all day consuming someone else's ideas.
I like your phrase, consumption of human consciousness, because really I'd never quite looked at it quite at that depth, but that's exactly what it is. You walk into a coffee shop and people don't even bother to look up anymore.
Right. They're terrified to.
They stay glued to that flat machine, and if you think that little screen is not going to evolve into something which not just consumes consciousness, but imparts ideas and actions. I mean, you're doing it already. I mean, if you're driving, how many people bother to look at a map anymore and draw a route? No, you key it in, and then you obey that sweet little voice. Turn left here, go 2 blocks, make a right. And by the way, I just wish someone would sell one of those things with options, like a humorous option.
The George Carlin voice.
Something like, good God, asshole, I told you to make a left. That's the 3rd left you've missed. Shit like that. Right?
It's the saddest part of all of it. They get all this data about you. So Google now knows everything you search for and reads all your email, because I got 15,000 signups on the email list, 17,000, and I see who the emails are. They're mostly Gmail addresses. So they know what you're searching for. They know where you physically are because they own Android. And if they didn't own Android, they own the Google searches and they own the Google Maps and they own Fitbit. So they know your heart rate. So they know when you're looking for porn, what porn you're watching, and when you catch your nut. This is not... And then after they do all of that, they still give you shitty untargeted ads anyway. So, yeah. So you do a search for a humidifier and you buy one, and now they show you humidifiers for the next 6 months like you're collecting the fucking things, like you need 10 of them, which just doesn't make any sense.
I think I'm going to enjoy this.
So what would be awesome is if companies made money not trying to suck up all your time and still found this energy to show you products that you wanted to buy and then let you be free. and to go do other things. It'd be better for everyone. Companies would make more money. The human would have more free time. You'd be able to watch. It would just make everything better. And it's just silly that we're not there yet.
But hang on. But someone would sneak in with something brand new and steal more of the consciousness.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. Yes.
This is corporate greed. This is how it fucking works. There's never enough. I don't care.
It's true.
If a company is making a profit of $100 billion a year, that's not enough.
Well, the funny part is that if the CEO attempted to be more humanist and save the humans, so for instance, if a CEO of a company produced a terrible product and knew that his competitor had a better product, in an ideal world, he would say, listen, our product sucks, you should buy that other one, we'll do our best to do better. But the shareholders could sue him for not acting in the best interest of the company. So even if a CEO wanted to do the right thing, the fact that he's beholden to the shareholders means that he can't. So he has to use dark patterns, and he has to lie and frame things so that his bad product looks good.
I'm not sure that's just the only option. I mean, I've been in this situation many times. If it were me, I'd go, Jesus God, that product is so much better than mine. Someone schedule a meeting with their CEO.
Right.
And then I'd walk in with my bravest face and my, the best cards that I can play. And I'd say, let's cut a deal. Buy my ass out, or I will ravage your heels forever. Come on, that's how
it's true. Yeah, look, it's
that's how it really works. And then, you explain to the shareholders, I'm sorry, we fucked up. Our development team, I fired them all, and the ones that didn't leave, I've shot. So that's no more problem.
We know that if you started shooting your workers, they would live because they're all wearing body armor. So you'd have to be very targeted with where you're shooting them. You got in for the throat, basically.
Yeah.
This is for the people that know, John. So my idea of life was always, okay, I want to try and live forever if I can, but I'm no good at dieting. I'm good at exercise now, but just lifting weights, not the cardio. So half of fitness and no dieting. So if I'm going to survive, I need technology. That's what I need. And now I think you're 74, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So John's 74. He's fitter than I am. If you see him with his shirt off, he'll take pictures and put his shirt off on the internet. I'm not doing that. I don't want you to see what's under here. He's happy to show off his body. He's even got crypto tattoos. If you're gonna get to 74, you've got two options: try and make it last as long as you can, or go out with a bang. Right? I think John chose the bang route.
I have been actually going out with a bang for 35 years or more. The bang just hasn't popped yet. Okay?
They need to study your DNA if ever they have the chance, because I mean I've seen some of your interviews, and I believe you do experimental chemicals, designer drugs that aren't even mainstream enough for most people to know how to handle them properly.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so normal drugs are not good enough for John. John needs drugs that are a next level. Not that many people have taken them yet.
Let me give you an example. All right, so it's no secret that I favor Canthinones in the experimental research range, and they're stimulants, but way more than stimulants. So one of them is a thing called methylene dioxypyrovalerone, MDPV. Now, you remember some years back where a stranger ate another stranger's face?
Yeah, it's a Florida story. I'm from Florida. I know all the Florida stories.
Okay, so it really was on MDPV. I don't care what the toxicology reports say, because you couldn't identify it. They didn't have any toxicology reports. Methylene dioxypyrovalerone, I know for a fact. Well, anyway, so his problem was this. MDPV is so dosage dependent. So for every 25 pounds of weight, you want to take 1 milligram. 1 milligram. All right. So if you take, let's say you're 150 pounds, that's going to be 6 milligrams. If you take exactly 6 milligrams of exactly pure MDPV, you're going to have an experience that you will never fucking forget. I promise you.
I would suggest that everyone try this out when they're
No,
74.
let me finish. Let me finish. If you take 7 milligrams, you're going to eat somebody's face off. And if you take 5, you're going to feel nothing at all. So this is some of the problems with the new research chemicals. They are extraordinarily dosage dependent. So
I mean, shouldn't they in theory cut that down so that you have to use a larger unit set so that your errors are smaller? So if you
well, people do it. Yeah, people do it different ways. Okay, they'll take a kilo, cut it in half, and cut that in half, cut that in half, and you just partition it out.
But if one of your cuts isn't right, then you're over on one of them and you're fucked.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. So no, you got to spend a few $1,000s for a scale that will measure micrograms.
Or not, or just not do any of that shit. Just be happy with the normal drugs.
I mean, I've taken all the normal drugs. I mean, I'm sorry.
See, if what you're saying about being dose dependent is true, then there's also likely dosage modifiers such as body weight, metabolism level, counter like other drugs that you're taking that may increase or decrease your metabolism.
Anybody who would ever begin to go into the Canthinones is going to carry a large quantity of benzodiazepines.
Right.
You know, to
take
if
the
something
edge.
does go awry and you want to eat your landlord's face, say, wait a minute, let me pop this pill first.
Oh man.
Then if you still want to eat his face, maybe you don't like him.
So I asked, because you're a wonderful speaker. So, you know, when I first saw you, I thought, oh, this guy's crazy. Because the first time I saw you, you were snorting coke or pretend coke off of the table. And there was a bunch of professional looking ladies in bikinis surrounding you. It was an advertisement that you had produced. I think you shot it in Belize. And I thought, okay, that's interesting, right? You were a successful tech entrepreneur. And now it looked to me like you were going to do the social wild man kind of thing. And then, you know, I actually saw you speak on television regarding your price prediction, your $1 million Bitcoin in 2020, end of 2020 price prediction. And it was very, very, very good. Your tonality and your intonation and your timing was all fabulous. So I really respect your public speaking. And a lot of people are hyped up about this interview that we're doing because we're both kind of the top of the crypto public speaking game. There's maybe only 4 people that could do well.
I'm not quite in your class yet, but I'm working on it. All right.
You know, I've seen you wear a suit, man. It's different. you can do it.
I'm going to take a few more stimulants and see if I can't catch it.
Yeah. So in crypto, I mean, it's Andreas Antonopoulos, Trace Meyer, me, you, and really no one else is a good public speaker that I can think of off the top of my head. Do you know of any other?
Roger Ver is a good public speaker.
Yeah, that's true. As long as he stays in his talking points, but he can.
That's right.
He can. Like he'll stay in them. He knows what they are. I registered Satoshi's Vision.com because he quoted that so many times. And then someone else actually created a fork of his project with that name, which is just funny to me because I own the name. Like,
right.
I offered to, I'm like, Calvin, hey, buy this from me because I don't want it, right? And no response. For a billionaire, you should buy the URL, the .com, for your project's name. It seems like a no-brainer to me, you know.
I agree. Well, now that we've stroked each other about how great we are at public speaking and just about everything else,
Right.
I bet
your
listeners want us to talk about something that matters to them.
Yeah, well, I did a poll and I asked them what they wanted us to talk about.
I'm sorry?
I said I did a poll and I asked them what they wanted us to talk about, and I said smart, crazy, or funny, and they chose smart, 50% of them. So I think they really want to learn smart stuff from us more than they want us to be crazy or interesting.
Fuck me.
So from my perspective, I think we should talk about making money.
Let me pop another stimulant right here.
All right. So what are you drinking there?
By the way,
is that antifreeze? Blue Curacao?
Nope, absolutely not. It comes from Australia, and it's a gin called ink, and it's the color of ink.
Huh.
You pour some water in it and get the exact shade you want, and that's what you drink. Anyway, we diverged or converged.
So I think what I care about is making money. It's where I wear my own logo with a fist crushing money. It's where I started, and then I retired and took 10 years off, and now I'm back at it. It was longer, actually. I retired in 2003. Now it's 2019. Maybe I started 2 years ago. So that's like 14 years I took off. Now I'm back at it. I think making money is why people are in crypto. I really don't think the majority of people, or even the minority, are in it for a reason different. I think making money is the best thing you can do in crypto. So I think we should talk about that, making money in crypto.
That's a subject dear to my heart, and I think that that's a fundamental problem in the crypto world, is that everybody's looking at it as a way to make money. No one's looking at what I believe was the original intent. Starting with Adam Beck's paper back in 1985. The original intent was to provide a means of currency which was more powerful, but far quicker to transact.
I halfway agree.
Well,
I'm halfway with you.
And then I think it transformed into a freedom sort of movement. Like, hey, this is our currency. We own this. It came from us. This didn't come from the bowels of some government or from IBM or Samsung. Oh, fuck no, it came from the people. And this is the blockchain. Fuck cryptocurrency, just the blockchain is a world transforming technology. And if people don't see that yet, then move out of your mom's basement. That's all I can tell you. But it is a world-changing technology.
So
if we use this appropriately, I'm almost an anarchist in my political beliefs, and I think power to the people is what life is all about. And if we use cryptocurrency for an intended purpose of transacting business, for buying and selling of goods and services, then what happens? Since we are controlling where coins are being created all the time, and new blockchains are being created, and new ways of doing smart contracts, and if we own this technology ourselves and don't let the government or a regulatory body or a bank tell us what to do, it can literally free you people. I mean, what controls your life? Money, the dollar, the yen, the British pound. You can't pay your rent without it, can't buy a car, send your kids to school, get medical care, nothing. It controls your life. And who controls the fiat currency? God knows who in some countries. Right. Feds, government, regulatory bodies, they all influence, financial institutions influence what your labor is worth. If the dollar is devalued by doubling the supply, your labor was what was lost.
So I agree with a lot of this. So I'll try and, I usually start hammering the old blockchain and being mean to it and then be nice to it at the end. I'm going to do it backwards this time. I'll be nice to it up front. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum have gone up from zero to many thousands of dollars. I got into Bitcoin in 2011 when it was 30. I used to mine full blocks on my own with no pool. Back when the reward was 50 Bitcoin per block, this stuff used to be free. And then that phase died out very quickly because it became very competitive. Then it went up to 20,000. Okay, so let's say you got in at 20 and it went up to 20,000. That's 1,000x. Ethereum went even higher, even faster. Ethereum did a 4,500x in 3.5 years. So, people that got into Ethereum during its initial launch, where people traded Bitcoin for Ethereum, did better than Bitcoin holders did, and they did better faster. That was really pissed me off because I didn't own any Ethereum. I just owned a lot of Bitcoin, and that's why I became public. I'm like, hey, wait a second, I don't have any Ethereum.
For a couple of years, Ethereum was absolutely in lockstep with Bitcoin at 1/10 its price.
Interesting. Yeah, but that was before for a long time I didn't even know existed.
Starting in 2017.
So whether blockchain can change the world or whether your cryptocurrency of choice can change the world, that doesn't really matter if you care about becoming very wealthy, because you can become very wealthy with these things. If you care about becoming very wealthy, We have very little adoption, and yet these things are the best performing assets in the history of mankind. Imagine if we had good adoption. It would be even more insane.
Yes.
So,
which is another reason we have to adopt. We have to actually use the fucking currencies. That's where the value comes from. Why do you think Bitcoin went up in price? Because people were buying pizzas with 50 Bitcoins to begin with, right? And then
about 10,000, the first one.
Other people started using it, and the more you use it, the greater the demand. And that's the issue. We need to increase demand again by using these currencies.
There's an art to that. So I think that's wrong, and here's why I think that. First, there's economics has a formula that states that the higher the velocity of money, which means how fast it turns over, the lower the actual value of the money. What makes a currency valuable is when its supply is reduced, and its supply is reduced when people hold on to it for longer and don't release it. When people actually spend their money, it creates a money multiplier effect, which actually increases the credit and supply of the system, which devalues the actual money because they're happy to use the credit and other proxies that are proxies of the real thing, and then the real thing doesn't have to rise in value as much. And as proof of that, I would show you that with very little actual use and very little actual utility, we have the best looking price chart in history. And it's because there's nothing else you can do with these things. Now, there is a downside to that. You will need to continue onboarding new users, and if you have a compelling value statement such as fast and affordable transactions, censorship resistance, immutable transactions, you can onboard those users. However, those users are only 5 to 10% of the ecosystem currently. If you care about using crypto, you'll use Monero because it's actually private. You will not use Bitcoin. You will not use Ethereum.
We all know that.
Right. But if you look at the price doesn't indicate that the market cares about anonymity. Most people don't take these coins into their own wallets. And I truly mean most people. There's only 2.8 million Bitcoin addresses that have over $1,000 in them. And most people have more than one address. So that's maybe 2 million people that have got $1,000 of Bitcoin. The vast majority of people that think they're using Bitcoin are actually using exchanges, which are the opposite of what Bitcoin was invented for. Bitcoin was invented to get rid of the counterparties, not create new ones.
Right.
So if you want to see true adoption, someone has to have the margin and the marketing budget to pay for ads that go out into the public that onboard new users. It costs $10 or $20 to onboard a new user. If you can't make $10 or $20 by onboarding that guy, you can't leave your advertisement up. You just run out of money. So the only people in crypto that have ads are scammers who have infinite profit margin, exchanges that bang you up on fees, binary options which bang you up on fees, margin trading which bangs you up on fees times 100. Why do you think they give you margin? So you can trade more money than you have, so they can multiply the house advantage against you. You think you're beating the house when you have, 5 hands at a blackjack table. No, you're just losing more money faster. They want you to have as many hands as you can possibly play. So I
mean, hang on. But here's something about the blockchain which is unique. It's being applied in astonishing new ways already. You say that the people aren't using it. That's bullshit. Almost everybody who's had a supply chain problem for hundreds of years is now using the blockchain to stop all the theft and deceit that goes on in the supply chain. There's a cryptocurrency called DAI, which belies what you just said, by the way, which is a stable coin. You're familiar with it, yes?
Yes. That is interesting. So hang
on, but it doesn't matter how much volume you have. It doesn't matter what happens to the crypto market. It never strays more than 1% above, 1% below, and it's working just fine. It's my coin of choice just to dump things in while I'm waiting for something else.
I hope it continues to work.
You don't have, there's no off ramp necessary. Why get off when you've got the AI?
Yeah, I understand completely. So I hope it continues to work. Lots of cool economic inventions have been invented, such as a credit default swap, such as mortgage-backed securities, and they worked very, very well for decades. And then a black swan event happened and they stopped working. And so using over-collateralization to attempt to defend a price peg can work for a very long time, but A black swan can occur and the peg can break. I hope it never happens. But you have to understand that when you put $1 into a stable coin, your actual value in that dollar is less than $1 because you have to reduce its value by the black swan risk that the over collateralization wasn't enough to defend the peg. And I don't know whether that's 2% or 3% or no percent. I mean, look, Tether has huge counterparty risk and everyone seems fine with that. I mean, probably I would take a DAI over a Tether. So I'm just saying, it's progress and it's good. It's peer-to-peer. It's open sourced. It is progress. I think if you want to get 1 million users on board, you got to have someone with margin. And so unless you have ads on Facebook, if you're Clash of Clans, you get 100 million users a day. There's 6 other games like Clash of Clans that have 100 million users a day, all of them. That's 600 million users a day on your various random casual games. Bitcoin's been around for 10 years, and we are not onboarding new users at the pace that we need to, and we never will be unless the marketing changes. So I created something to fix that problem, and I know that you're attempting to fix that problem yourself. I mean, you didn't get a tattoo of a cryptocurrency because you didn't want to advertise it, right? I mean, how many people out there are willing to really make the effort to speak out, you know? You are, I am. There's not enough of us.
Let's move on. Let's move on to an individual's personal sovereignty and its relation to cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a firm believer that number one, income taxes are absolutely illegal. They are unconstitutional. We never had income taxes in America until 1913. We got along just fine. It's just an easy way for congressmen and senators to fatten their pockets in their districts at our expense. And so I don't think it's anybody's business where I make my money, how much I make, what I do with it. End of fucking story. And if there are any of you out there that believe likewise, then cryptocurrency is an answer. Privacy coins, you mentioned Monero. I think that's certainly the oldest and the most reliable. The U.S. government, by the way, put out an RFP this past January, a request for proposal from companies that could propose ways of breaking into Monero's data. I don't think that they will find a solution, not until we get way better quantum computers than we have now.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I agree with you there. So I think that it's a very easy way for governments to have never-ending wars is to just inflate the currency to pay for them instead of actually requiring people pay a tax and then noticing that they're expensive things and that they don't want them anymore. So
what about a currency that the government doesn't control, that nobody controls?
I believe in it.
A trustless distributed system.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be shut down, can't be controlled.
I agree.
Then
I like it.
What's wrong with that as a possible solution to unlock the cage of your financial slavery? And if you think you're not slaves, people, I don't know any of you in the audience. However, I can guess what many of your lives are like. I mean, if you're the average professional wage earner, you commute to an office in the morning after kissing your family goodbye. You stay 8 hours in a windowless, airless environment. You reverse that coming home, and you do that 5 days a week for 40 years. And you get a few weeks off every year. They let you out of your cage, and then you start over. And the work that you're doing is not work that you wake up on Monday going, "Oh, thank God, I get to go to work today." No, it's the type of work that you go, "Thank God it's Friday." Is that the life? That's financial. That's financial slavery for you. This is how it looks in this modern era.
A lot of people choose that for themselves. A lot of people waste a lot of money on shit they do not need. I don't understand it. I don't like wasting money. If you think about what it really takes to live and how much it really costs you, it ain't as much as you think, and you really could save a lot if you really wanted to, even if you're broke as hell.
It's next to nothing if you're willing to be minimalistic.
Yep, peanut butter and jelly and rice and beans will get you a long way.
And also if you can acquire a secondhand house that's off the grid, with solar or hydro or wind or something, live off the land. Good God. I mean, people, there are seeds you can buy in grocery stores that will grow.
Yeah, people forget seeds exist. Like, you can grow your own food, like it just comes out of the earth for free? No way. The rain's free and everything. Wow.
Well, it's not exactly for free. You got to water and you got to weed, but that's about all. I mean, plants don't require a whole lot of attention. You don't have to sing to them like some people say.
Who do you think has made the most money in crypto?
Well, obviously, Jihan Wu.
I don't think he made. Okay, how much do you think Jihan made?
Yeah, he's got to be worth 25 billion. Run the numbers. Good God Almighty, he's the only manufacturer. Bitmain's
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think the block rewards in total over the years Bitmain existed add up to that much.
I'm sorry, say it again.
So Bitmain's income is a function of the block reward. They can't get their customers to pay them more than the total Bitcoin block reward. I don't think the total block rewards for all of the time Bitmain existed adds up to that much. I don't think he's got that much. He could have $1 billion or $2 billion, I think. I don't think he got 25.
That's not where they're making their money. Good God, man. They are the largest Bitcoin miner in the world and always have been, and they have never. I know Jihan personally. I think he's probably the most humble man I've ever met. No pretensions. He's never sold a single fucking Bitcoin.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think he went all in on BCH and got the shit wrecked out of him. And I've seen him yelling on YouTube, "It is Bitcoin Cash, not Bcash." I've seen him yelling, and I've seen him get wrecked on that BCH chart hard as fuck. I don't. And that little bitch blocked me on Twitter. So I ain't got nothing nice to say about him. He tried to kill the real Bitcoin with a fake copy of it, and he fucked up entirely so much that they removed him from his own company that he founded. And they just put him back.
The question wasn't who do we like or dislike. Although I did volunteer, I like. Okay. The question was, who do you think the richest man is?
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. I think
it's either him or Brock Pierce.
Right. So EOS hit it home run, 4.2 billion raise. I'm not sure how much Brock got to keep. I don't know how Brock and PDT.
He had billions before EOS. Good God Almighty. The man owns half the fucking pachinko machines in China, for fuck's sake. All right, I know he's another good friend of mine. So
yeah, Brock seems to have good power in the ecosystem. Sure, like I agree. Brock's in the player list. Jihan's in the player list. Coinbase, Brian Armstrong's in the player list.
Yes.
I think from my limited, you have other knowledge to other revenue streams these guys have because you have better relationships with them. From my perspective as an outsider, more so than you are, I think the Block One guys with their 4.2 billion raise on EOS made more money than Brian plus Arthur from BitMEX plus Satoshi plus all those guys combined. Just look at the math. So Jihan and EOS guys top two.
Yeah, that's my guess. Who would you guess?
I'm with you on all fronts. The only thing that I thought was maybe I don't know about Brock's share of EOS, what percent cut he got because he kind of got like publicly removed a little early.
Listen, that's a maneuver for PR.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Who do you think the unhappiest man in crypto is? Or
Roger Ver.
I would put two of them in there. I think Roger and Craig Wright together.
Bitfinex seems pretty unhappy.
Would make a good team, wouldn't they?
Who? Roger and
Craig Wright.
Here's the thing. I did an interview with Roger a very long time ago. I met him in 2013 at a Bitcoin conference, and he's a nice guy. He wants good things for the world. And I told him on stream, I'm like, why are you interacting with this guy that pretends to be Satoshi? And he just kept doing it. And now, like when you lay in bed with bad bedfellows, you wake up with fleas. And, because he gave this guy press time, he created that fork that tried to kill his coin. So he created a coin to try and kill the real Bitcoin. And then someone else came along that he empowered and tried to kill his coin with another faker version of the fake version. So, third tier fake. And, it's like that didn't have to happen, right? Do you think Satoshi invented a system to remove trust and rely on signatures so that he could personally require trust and give no signatures? Doesn't make any sense. He invented something to do the opposite, right? Like, proof is cheap. We have encryption. We have signatures now. You don't need to take people's words for shit. Which is why you keep getting fake Bitcoin inventors all the time. Now, I will say, and this is a controversial opinion I have that people don't like, I think Satoshi is deceased or a bitch. Vitalik invented Ethereum, and he's standing on stage, and he's not the most buff-looking dude, okay? He weighs maybe 100 pounds. And he stands on stage as the founder of a cryptocurrency and isn't a coward and doesn't run away and still writes software and still writes improvements and still donates to charity, supports sens.org, you know, trying to save your life with longevity research. He does all those things, and he doesn't hide away like a little bitch. Now people say, oh, well, Satoshi did what, you know. No, he could do, if he was alive, he could do the same thing. I'm sure he ain't smaller than Vitalik, right?
Okay. Now, first of all, whoever Satoshi is completely fucking insignificant. We know all the people who were involved, right, in the development.
He's got 1 million coins. He's still got 5% of the supply.
Pardon?
It matters. He's got 5% of the supply. He's still got 1 million coins.
Okay, that's fine. You know, if Craig Wright was around, there's a whole bunch of people. Now, you can buy some authoring software for $79.95 to run against the Satoshi white paper. And every single person involved in this, by the way, has written multiple technical papers. If you look at it, you don't need any software. Let me just tell you. If you look at the white paper, you'll notice two very unusual things. Number one, all of the spelling for words which have different spelling in American and English, and there are about 5 words in there that do, have the British spelling. The second telling thing is, after every sentence are 2 spaces. Now, this is a minority choice for people who write, but you check it out yourself. Look at the white paper.
I agree. You can also do timing analysis.
There are only 2 of the people that could have been involved, which are British, and only one of them double spaces after a period. Fuck me. Look it up. I mean, people going, who is it? Who is it? It's easy.
So you can also do analysis of what hours he posted to Bitcoin Talk. And you know that, so a lot of people try and be anonymous on the internet, and then there's an attack vector they're not aware of, which is a timing attack. So if you do real-time communication and you say, hello, Richard, and I say, hello back, John, they know that you and I were communicating because my response was so short in time next to your transmission.
Yes.
So if you really want to be anonymous, you have to use different words and introduce random delays in your responses.
That's a possibility, but why implicate one of the other players?
Yeah, sure. But the thing is, once again, Vitalik said this on stage, it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like Occam's razor. The easiest way to prove that you're Satoshi is to sign from an old address. Now, it still doesn't prove that you are, but it sure eliminates a lot of other people from contention. And if anyone else is trying any other method that's not the simplest one, then they're trying to bullshit you. So if someone is telling you a lot of words that take hours and hours and hours when they can make a signature in 10 seconds, they're bullshitting you for a reason, right? The signature is the thing that the entire system requires.
I might have been misled, but if you use full authoring software, it comes out 99% who Satoshi is. So $79.95. I only get a $25 commission. I'm being upfront with this now.
By the way, I put when I first started, I put 2 spaces after periods because when I first started typing, I typed on a real typewriter, and that's what you did when you typed on a real typerator. So it's kind of something that old people do.
I'm not saying, all I'm saying is there are only 2 British people, only one of them have double spaces in all of their papers.
But you're restricting the set of people to people that were on the mailing list for a cypherpunk mailing list, right? That's what you're using as your input set. For your input set of possible Satoshites, you're using the mailing list of cryptography, the cypherpunk mailing list, right? That's your input set?
No. I'm just using those people we all know were involved, for fuck's sake.
But that's where we know them from. That's where that list comes from.
There's a history to this. There's less than a dozen of them.
Yeah, because that's the mailing list.
Every single one has written multiple papers. Dr. Adam Back has written over 100, for fuck's sake. Randomly grab one and run the analysis.
Yeah. So we talked about who makes the most money. What have you made the most money on? I won't answer that question. I guess I will. It's probably Bitcoin. What
I'm
have
sorry,
you made?
what's the question?
What have you made the most money on? Crypto. Which crypto? You don't have to answer. That's like a personal bullshit question. I would not expect you to answer that.
Well, good.
Okay.
Next question.
But I mean, if you're already all in and you're like, fuck it, I'm not paying taxes anyway, come and get me. I mean, really, you can fucking say whatever you want.
I know, and I said what I wanted, which is nothing.
I feel you, man. So what do you want to see go up now? Like, what are you doing? Are you shilling? I mean, I'm wearing a fucking HEX t-shirt. I'm shilling. What are you selling?
My biggest project is the McAfee DEX.
Okay.
It came out 3.5 weeks ago. We carry every token on the Ethereum blockchain now. Next week we'll be adding Tron, EOS, Neo, and Binance before the first of the year.
And anyone can add anything they want, right?
Pardon?
Anyone can add any address they want, any token they want, right?
As long as it's on the blockchains we're supporting. Yeah, right now, we're in beta right now. So the beta test we chose Ethereum. Why? It's got the most volume, the absolute most number of coins, from ERC20s up to ERC1440s. We'll be doing cross-chain transactions the second quarter of next year. We charge no listing fees. If you want to list a coin, you press the button at the top of the page, put in the technical specs, you're listed. We take no information from anybody. We don't ask for your name, your email address. We look at no documents. We don't care if you're in America or Siberia. It's all the same to us. Is it
custodial? Do you guys hold coins or?
No, fuck no, we don't hold things. That would give us control, would it not? Absolutely not. Non-custodial.
Well, you can't exit scam if you're not holding any coins, right? So.
What's that?
You can't exit scam if you're not holding any coins.
No, we're not holding it, and we hold nothing. Absolutely nothing. These are all smart contracts. Our logic is smart contracts on the blockchain.
Do you know how much volume you're doing? Or you don't know off the top of your head?
We're not even looking right now, but we're trying to fix the bugs that are coming from the volume. Okay,
yep.
That's the purpose of the beta. I mean, you can do as much as you want with a development team of 15 or 20 people, but you can't test. You can't really test something like this until you put it out there. So
it's amazing what users can do to a system that's supposed to work well.
The first thing was speed. It took us 40 seconds to load the home page when we first started. We're now down to 3 seconds. Next week we'll be down to 1 second. So these are the things we're working on now.
Right.
But no, we're non-custodial. We have multiple portals. If you have a domain, you want to run a web page, we will set up your portal for you for $395.
So you're talking about white labeling the DEX for people?
Pardon?
Are you talking about white labeling the McAfee DEX for people?
Yeah, you could say that. And if you do that, all the traffic that comes through your portal, you get 0.5% of the transaction. It's all shared. I mean, everything that comes in through every portal is all on the blockchain, so everybody sees everything as soon as it happens. So anyway, I'm doing this just as sort of a thumbs up to the authorities that be in this world that say you can't do this, you can't do that. So when they come to shut me down, I'm going to say, gosh, I'm so sorry. I was stupid. I made this smart contracts on the blockchain. It can't go away. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I never thought that you people might want to know something. That's what I'm saying. And in turn, they say, well, we're taking the domain, McAfeeDex.com. I'll go, I give a flying fuck. We already have 30 portals. We have 100 by the end of the year and 1,000 by mid next year. So I don't care. Can't be shut down.
Right.
Can't be controlled. It can be monitored, of course, but only if they know your wallet address and who you are. Be cautious.
Yeah, and I just tweeted today a tweet that I saw from Vitalik, which was, if you want to mix Ethereum, and you could also mix ERC20 tokens or whatever, I think. I've never actually used this thing yet. You can go to Tornado.cash, and it's like a mixer for Ethereum stuff, and then your stuff goes in and it comes out anonymous, and then you've got that extra layer that you might want.
Absolutely.
It's probably easier than like going to Monero.
Listen, we're working on all kinds. You have no idea the shit we're working on, and we're not saying
Well, I
anything.
could, because you could tell me.
And I promise you, when we come out with our shit, you're going to be truly surprised. You're going to be truly.
It's too bad.
This is a beta. We never imagined the shit that can go wrong in a distributed exchange of this nature. So
it's too bad you guys don't have a big Bitcoin cold wallet, because in the token that I made, I give it out to free to people that have Bitcoin, and I would try and pitch you guys on claiming on the behalf of users and taking a referral fee, which is 20%, and then they get a 10% bonus for having used your referral fee.
Now, Bitcoin is going to be very difficult for us. It's going to be difficult for anybody to do a distributed exchange with Bitcoin, just because it's older. The architecture does not support what we're trying to do. Yep. But we will solve this problem. It's just going to take some time.
Did you ever look into the coin I built, or have you not? I built a token. I built a coin. Did you ever look at it yet?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. No one told me about it. Listen,
you should do it.
I'm an old man that can barely remember my name.
Well, if you've got a stack of Bitcoin, I give you free tokens. So if you like free money, go to hex.win and get your free money. Not bad. I worked hard. It cost me a lot of money to give you free money.
I'm sure it did. Well, that's too bad. Too bad I sold all of my Bitcoins at the extreme bottom of the bear market. Oh, well.
You should have let them sink in a boat accident, man. That's what everyone else does. You send the dinghy out with your treasure, and then it sinks.
Yes. What else do your users want to talk about?
Well,
your followers.
I don't know. Let's ask them. Hey guys, they're on like a 30-second delay because I shoot 4K, so it takes time to ring code and transmit to them. Hey guys, we can talk about anything you like. We already talked about who Satoshi might be. We talked about who made the most money in crypto. We talked about designer drugs and chemicals. We circle jerked a little bit on how cool we are.
Absolutely no questions about the allegations that I ate those children. I'm sick of dealing with it. I've answered those questions.
What about the whale sex?
The which one?
The whale sex.
The whale sex. We can talk about that. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. But listen, I was drunk at the time. I remember nothing, so I can't help you guys.
So I guess. So let's play this game. I have a theory that I think can help onboard everyone to crypto, and I don't think there's actually another way to do it. And I'm going to try and let's see if we can do that. I think we need a lot of advertisements, period. And I think the only people that could buy the ads now are exchange houses, which fuck the users with fees, and lose your data, and email your name to everyone else, and seize your funds, and loot. Like, that just is terrible. That's why a DEX is so much cooler, because you guys can't lose anyone's money. You don't have any other money. So that's a great innovation. So the only way that I can think of to be able to afford to onboard new users is to actually have enough of the supply that when the price goes up enough, you can sell a little bit and make more than it costs to bring the guy on board. I don't think you can actually onboard new users without fucking them with fees unless you control enough of the supply. There's no way to be cash positive.
I think he might be right. I mean, the other solution that I've considered is if we get all of the hookers and prostitutes on our side.
And they're already on there. Once they ban Backpage.
Get them to not do any work whatsoever unless they're paid in cryptocurrency. I promise you, within 2 weeks, every male, and therefore his family more likely, will be involved in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I guess another side angle would be to use other services that have high adoption rates. This is where a throughput problem actually does hurt, because we could not, with the throughput we have on any blockchain whatsoever, support Clash of Clans' economy, a single freemium casual game. We couldn't do their economy on the blockchain because of technical limitations. So even that one's a little bit hard, right? I mean, 100 million users a day, doing how many transactions per day? Let's call it 10. That's what, 1 billion transactions a day for one game, singular, and then how many games are out there? It's going to be a hard one.
I know it is indeed.
Yep.
All right, I think we have time for one more question, if there is one, because I've got another interview coming up.
I love that you talk to everybody. You know, like if someone's coming up and they don't have a following or anything, I will see that they have done an interview with you, and I think that's really nice of you, because you're one of the heaviest hitters in the space. So I think that's real cool of you to do interviews with people.
All right. Any questions on your screen?
McAfee, did you look? No, somebody's shilling something else.
You want to know about the children I ate, don't they?
2 million baby. And we could talk about, okay, I'll just ask my question. Are you going to eat your dick in 2020 if the Bitcoin price is not $1 million? Or are you going to squeeze your way out of it and say that someone else is going to eat your dick on your sponsorship or something? That's all.
Well, definitely the second. I mean, I'll need to consult with my lawyers about what the protocols and rules are.
Get a clone. Look, make a clone of yourself, and then you can use them for harvest. You can harvest his organs and everything, man. Just make a clone of yourself. When you have a heart attack, you can just take his heart. You know, just make sure he's not smarter than you, and then you've got a movie situation where he tries to take over your life, and then kill you.
Well, the other thing was to hire one of the great stage musicians. I mean, I'm friends with a couple of them, and to arrange the stage so that it would look like it's being cut off, but I can't find a single one who's willing to touch my dick.
Yeah, I think Penn and Teller could sort you, man. You just get on the phone. He's a libertarian. Penn Jillette.
I know. I
hook you up.
I know. I met him in Las Vegas in 2016 when I was running.
He's a tall fucker, ain't he? What's going on with your president? He's a tall fucker. He's like 6'7" or something, I think.
God, yes, is he tall? I mean,
so what's up with your presidential race? And that'll be our last question.
Well, it's still on. I mean, we have we're still up and running. We have regional coordinators. We're negotiating with the Libertarian Party. The party leadership does not like me. I don't blame them, quite frankly. Nothing about me that's in their favor. Nevertheless, as a Libertarian membership who've paid $25 dues, I have the right to throw my hat in the ring. And I think I have enough support within the party, if nothing else, left over from 2016, to make sure that I appear in those debates that matter. John Stauffen, for example, and so on.
The mustache, yeah. I would love to see you debate.
We know. I mean, if anybody out there thinks I really can become the U.S. president, then stop the rainbows.
I would assign it a low probability.
Yeah, impossible. There's zero probability, people. So I don't want that job. I don't think it matters who's president. I really don't. Right. I mean, you get elected, you're there for 4 years, 8 maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
The people who are managing you and advising you and providing information to you have been there for 30 and 40 years so often. And to them, the real controllers here, you're just the next guy. Here's the next guy. And okay, what are his qualities? Let's let him do this. So you sit in that chair, you have 1,000 strings attached to you. The CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and none of them are going to tell you jack shit. You want to find out if there's aliens in the world? I promise you, presidents will be the last to know.
Yeah, there's a story about that. Everyone, even Clinton went in there, and that was one of his things. And then as soon as they get in, you never hear about it again. So whatever they're telling them, it shuts them right up.
What they're telling them is you don't have a need to know. For national security reasons, Mr. President. If an emergency happens where you need to know, I assure you, sir, you will be the first alerted. Yeah. This is control. Good God. And I've had a blast, by the way.
I've really enjoyed it. Everyone go to McAfee 2020 if you want to see his presidential campaign. I think his DEX is McAfee Is that it?
McAfee DEX or McAfee DEX, however you want to pronounce it.
If you want the free tokens that I made for you, they're free. Go to hex.win, and that's it. And I hope to see you again.
I'm going to go buy some Bitcoins just so I can get your fucking tokens. Is that all right with you?
You know what, man? If you're a referrer, I tell people they can double dip and get a 40%. You tell people to claim their free tokens, you get 20% kick on it. Then sell them for ETH, and then turn them into HEX. You get 20% again. You get a 40% round trip. It's pretty good. It's good seeing you, man.
Yeah, I want to stop what I'm doing. I mean, clearly this is much more profitable.
There's not that many ways you can make $1 billion in a year, and crypto is one of the few. The founder of XRP was the richest man in the world in 2017, and one of us might be the richest man in the world in 2020. We'll see.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.